Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever, whenever you may be tuning in, this is Yonks, and we are now at our second annual meeting for 3winDAO Triple Win Foundation. And join with me here is my superpower, Tyler, aka Mrs. Yonks, Amy, and Nick. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right. So we've got a lot of
Good
agenda and
morning.
oh, thanks, Amy. We've got a lot of agenda. One of the things that have been doing here in the near term is using Google Docs, and I'll actually share this link on our Discord live stream channel. I think that that's all set up here real quick, and I don't have live streaming enabled, but here is the link to our annual meeting, link to 3winDAO, and we're not using Discord. Haven't been talking about that, and probably will continue not to. We do have a pretty solid Discord server setup that we've been building over the years. Um, but anyway, here's the link to the Google Docs agenda. So, noteworthy summary of noteworthy milestones. And this is, as you can see here, this isn't something that I spent a lot of time getting the details together, but the most noteworthy thing that we've been focusing on for the last 6 to 9 months is our Hero X submissions. And I'm just going to go over here. So this is the one that started the entire dynamic, and this goes all the way. I can't remember when this one was, but this was for Solar Prize round 7. And the three of us, Nick wasn't on or contributing at the time back in 2021 when we submitted for Solar Prize round 5. And one of the things that happened through the continuing to refine the narrative for the Hero X American Made challenges is that we really coalesced around Gigs Go Green, transition from solar EV, and solar EV is still one of the key components of Gigs Go Green, but Gigs Go Green is a movement for gig workers. And that's one of the things that I referenced on the thumbnail, Gigs Go Green. That's the main focus here that we've got as a team to launch Gigs Go Green. And our launch is for Gigs Go Green is actually here next month. And I'm not going to unpack our launch strategy. So one of the things that will be pretty exciting, we have yet to progress through an American Made challenge, but this week we should be getting determination on our third Hero X that we submitted, and this is one that we submitted in February for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And let me see if I can find, so here's the challenge, American Made challenge for that. And here was our entry of Gigs Go Green, our submission that we did for that, a movement for gig workers. So this was the first time that we submitted under the Gigs Go Green narrative that evolved. So I'm going to give everybody a quick opportunity to chime in some thoughts as far as your experience with Hero X. And the other opportunity is that we're going to be submitting for Solve It. And I'll bring open that tab, go on mute, and let everybody chime in some thoughts as far as what we've been spending most of our time on here as a team the last 6 to 9 months.
My only thoughts on this Hero X platform is that, when we talked to them, it seemed like they almost like they're expecting people to have some progress as far as like tangible things that we can show outside of, just setting up infrastructure and plans. And I'm wondering if that's been some of the challenge through the Hero X platform and getting traction there. But I just don't have a lot of evidence to that, right? That's all just kind of off of our first meeting with them, and then what I've been seeing, some of the projects that they've been, winning on this platform, either seems to be part of a community that is already plugged in, or people who have something like a product or something tangible that they're already in the process of building. But maybe I'm off base there.
on our side anyway, with the multiple submissions we have already sent out, it's a learning curve, finding out what they were actually looking for, and hopefully our future submissions will be better than the previous ones. That's the way I see it.
I think the biggest benefit of HeroX has been it gives us a deadline to clarify our projects and really think through a lot of the details. It's been pretty frustrating that whatever we're providing is not what they want, but I also think that what we've been putting forth has been pretty compelling for other reasons. So kind of have mixed feelings about it.
And that's one of the things that we're actually looking that we did not do within the prior 3 submissions was we didn't have any letters of support from existing conversations that we've been having. And I don't really think that we were intentional about having conversations prior. We started having some a little bit surrounding the Community Energy Innovation Prize. And this is one of the things that I'm really excited with Solve It. And I'm going to just read this real quick. This first paragraph on the overview, the solutions for lasting, viable energy infrastructure technologies, and that's what Solve It is an acronym for, Prize aims to empower communities to identify and implement innovative clean energy solutions in a way that works for their unique needs and challenges. And I think all of us would absolutely agree that the solution that we're looking to deploy with Gigs Go Green, like solar EV, which has 3 main components: solar for generating energy, battery for storing the energy, and then EV charging for distributing the energy, is an innovative solution. And in conversations that we've had over the course of refining these HeroX submissions with the Colorado Clean Energy Office, not anywhere in the state of Colorado are those 3 components deployed as far as DC fast charging. And that's really where is a need to create sustainable and scalable energy solutions for the imminent shift that the US government is wanting us to make towards electric vehicles. So anyway, I feel really good about the narrative that we've been refining. And one of the things that we didn't get done in 2023, and this is actually something that I bundled here, is to obtain 501c3 status. We had a conversation about, I don't know, was June or something like that of 2023, where we put forward that. And that's one of the things that we absolutely need to be intentional about to move that conversation forward. And now that we have our snapshot framework in place, this is a good opportunity to put that forward as a kind of a foundational proposal here. And this is something that I'm wanting to get these proposals that have identified drafted so that we can review those drafts and then create those proposals and get those voted on. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about, and I'll come back to this foundation business because it's really related to this when we talk about this proposal. So just going down the list, we've got, I broke this section into several different 3winDAO proposals that are directly related to Triple Win Foundation, Web3 Freedom Club, and then P-Token, which will soon be formerly known as Retoken DAO. So this one is one that I haven't had a lot of conversations with, and this is one of the things that's going to be really cornerstone to what we're building as far as within our ecosystem, is this WeBiddle 3Win protocol for Christ. And 3Win protocol is going to be the foundational protocol within our DAO ecosystem. And when you think of wherever in our ecosystem that money is going to be exchanged, this is when we're going to be applying what we're looking at, a 5% protocol sustainability tax, whatever that you want to call it. And this is something that I'll work on getting drafted. And what do I mean by that? Like, for example, a gig worker in Tesla Black that is participating in our cooperative vehicle model to the tune of $200 a week. That 5%, like 1% would go to 3winDAO, 1% to Web3 Freedom Club, 1% to Tesla Black, 1% to P token, and then 1% to For Christ. And this is one of the things that we can continue to evolve as far as what that looks like. And we're really wanting that one that's For Christ, where if somebody wants to put forward a mechanism where it can be another nonprofit organization. And this is the opportunity for us to, when we have more traction within our community, to create a framework. For Christ can be the first associated nonprofit that we have within this 3Win protocol. But that's kind of the vision of what 3Win protocol is. And when you think about like one of the problems that we're looking to solve with 3Win protocol is like surrounding the conversation of car loans. We're wanting to create a mechanism where we're basically creating a car loan for cooperative drivers, and we're wanting to use this protocol. And when you think about, we're ideally wanting to use other people's money as much as possible. So we're wanting to be able to engage with DeFi protocols that will be on the lender side of the equation, and then our cooperative drivers would be on the borrower side. And I believe one of the problems that we can solve with 3Win protocol is to minimize or potentially negate any defaults from a car loan, vehicle loan perspective. I don't know what the industry standard is for car defaults, but when you think about like traditionally car loans are one lender to one borrower. And when you think about what we're talking about here with DeFi protocols, multiple lenders, and with our 3Win protocol, a cooperative protocol for tokenizing real world assets, there would be multiple borrowers on the borrower side of that equation. So instead of one-to-one, it would be many to multiple in a cooperative dynamic. So that's one of the things that really wanting to put some, and where there's an opportunity to evolve this into a light paper or a white paper, this is absolutely something that I could see evolving over time. And this is one of the things that we've already started having some conversations with the patent attorney as far as creating some patents surrounding our blockchain property tokens. So I'm going to move on here because we've only got 5 minutes left and a lot of stuff to talk about. So the other one is adopting the contributor covenant, and this is at contributor-covenant.org. This is something that we did within Retoken, and the reason that have it here within a proposal for 3winDAO, this is something that we just want to adopt want the proposal here, 3Win improvement proposal number 2, to just say, hey, this contributor covenant is something that we're adopting across our entire DAO ecosystem. So this is where this next improvement proposal, right now, 3Win Foundation, we have had and still have an account as 3Win Foundation here at INT in Colorado. That's not something that we're planning on migrating away from, but we started exploring Mercury.com via this snapshot proposal. And while I'm bringing that up, I'm going to let Tyler talk to, because she's been the primary one that's been utilizing Mercury.com. So if you could, Tyler, share your experience of what that's looked like so far with Mercury.com.
Sure. So two things. One was I tried to open up 2 accounts, one for the Web3 Freedom Club, which was really easy, and one for another business that Jason and I have that's not related, that for whatever reason got dinged. So I think filling out the paperwork exactly right is important. So that was frustrating that the second account didn't get opened. So once we got Web3 opened, 3 things that were really positive. One was the wire transfers are instant, free. They don't require any confirmation. You literally just type in the information, hit confirm, and it's done. And I was working on another contract, and I couldn't figure out why my client kept wanting to pay me in wire transfers all the time, because I'm thinking like paperwork and phone calls and $50 fees. That seemed really inefficient. And then I realized he was actually a Mercury client also, and it's free and it's instant. So it just imagine that as it's like a Zelle or a Venmo type user experience. You just type it in, it's done. So that was really positive. Um, it keeps the records are really nice and clean on the front side. Keeps track of actual business names, and then you can nickname stuff. So the interface, the UI is really good. The experience so far has been really positive. And the other thing that I have liked about it is when we're paying a vendor who doesn't want to give us their info, we can actually send them a request to put it in and authorize a payment. So when they put in their info, it just automatically triggers and pays them. So that's all been really positive so far. I think that if we move forward with Mercury, or if we move forward with other entities, I would keep doing Mercury. And then I think their functionality is probably just gonna keep getting better. So overall, it's been really positive.
Yeah, and they do have some API capabilities, and that's not something that we're even at a point where it makes sense to unpack that. But they are they're absolutely positioning themselves as a Web3 forward bank for dealing with startups, and are very accepting of DAOs. And like, just sitting on my desk right here, I have the debit card that Tyler got created that says Web3 Freedom Club DAO, and you probably can't see that on the screen, but like Tyler said, it's been a pretty fabulous experience, and only expect that will get better. And to be clear, we're wanting to do most of our stuff on chain. And that's one of the things that we're still expecting. Like, there's a lot of payments just to manage an organization as far as on a monthly basis, like, as Zoom fees, and, different infrastructure costs and different things that most businesses aren't set up to accept crypto. And that's one of the things that we are going to be largely using USDC. But anyway, moving down the list here, does anybody have any questions on the Mercury real quick before we move on? See, Nick nodding his head, no mics opening up. So already talked about the 501c3 status, not going to talk about that again here. So DunaDAO, this is one of the things that there's conversations already happening, side conversations, and this is one of the things that I can absolutely see a DUNA, which is an acronym for the Decentralized Unincorporated Nonprofit Association. The big aspect that I had been having some thoughts that may be a viable fit, which it's not, is DUNAs have to have 100 members or more. And I was thinking of using those within our ecosystem for investment clubs. But investment clubs are on the flip side of that member dynamic, where it has to be less than 100 members. So a DUNA doesn't make sense for investment clubs within our ecosystem, but I absolutely believe that it probably does for tokenizing real world assets. And one of the things that we're primarily focused on tokenizing, well, there's several. We already talked about tokenizing vehicle loans. We're going to be tokenizing distributed energy resources through solar, EV, and then also tokenizing real estate. And I see that as the SPV, special purpose vehicle legal wrapper, as a better fit with our emphasis on technology than an LLC, which is traditionally used as an SPV. So the other thing, and this is where we've all already been having some conversations about launching on-chain boot camp. And this is really one of the things that we've already had some experience through our blockchain boot camp for real estate 101, which we had 12 tickets minted for that when we hosted that back in almost 2 years ago in April of 2022. And on-chain is one of the things that Coinbase and Base said that through their marketing efforts has the strongest resonating with people. So this is something that I take as some words of advice to position that. So the main thing that we're looking to do with On-Chain Bootcamp is to create a Web3 onboarding experience primarily geared for gig workers. And this is one of the things that, depending on how if there's more demand than outside of that. But the other thing too, I already mentioned before we went live, is this On-Chain Bootcamp is a benefit that we're going to be providing. We're going to be offering this as a $97 a year. And when I say a year, that's another value proposition that's a little different. You'll be able to participate in your boot camp, and then if you want to, like 6 months down the road, you want to refresh or whatever, you'll be able to again participate with no additional cost. So that's one of the fun things that we're creating for our ecosystem, because we really believe that education is a strong component of onboarding new people into all the benefits that this technology provides. So the other one is P-Token DAO, and that's functionally going to be rebooting Retoken, the real estate DAO. That's where we got most of our experience in the efforts of building decentralized community, and P-Token is going to be absolutely core in the tokenization of real world assets that we're building out. And I'm not even going to attempt to unpack how foundationally core that's going to be. But anyway, and then before I move on to looking forward, does anybody want to chime in any thoughts on these proposals that we just shotgun through here right now? See Nick nodding his head, no mic's coming open. So looking forward, and this is where, and I'm going to just go to, since I don't have any bulleted thumbnails, I'm going to bring back open the thumbnail here that kind of unpacks this a little bit. So Gigs Go Green, as I mentioned, is our main focus, where we're launching 3 synergistic cooperatives. And we had originally planned on launching our security offerings for Colorado for Tesla Black, our vehicle cooperative, Solar EV, our energy cooperative, and Web3 CLT, our real estate cooperative, on DAO Day, which is February 22nd, but things didn't line up for several personal reasons in January. And I'm actually glad that it didn't, because right now I'm really excited. Earth Day 2024 is on April 22nd. And I think that that's a much more compelling narrative that most people can associate with, since Earth Day, I think Earth Day 2024 is going to be the 58th year that Earth Day has been celebrated. And when you think about a solution for climate change, this is one that a lot of people can actually embrace and say, hey, I can actually see this being a solution for sustainability and renewable energy that I haven't really seen being deployed in my local community before. And then I've got the cross emoji on here. We're specifically targeting solar EV for churches as a core component in our go-to-market strategy. So that's really what we've got planned. I already talked about Hero X Solve It, and that's something that will probably, regardless of what determination gets made on the Community Energy Innovation Prize or Solve It, I think that it makes sense to continue to refine the narrative, because the Department of Energy is literally putting forward tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and then the government, through the Inflation Reduction Act, green energy tax credits in the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, and that's really the main reason. But looking forward, does anybody else want to chime in some thoughts on looking forward? I am more excited about what we're building than ever, but anyway, I'm going to go on mute and let people chime in some final thoughts here. And one of the things that I do want to, just on the looking forward conversation, and this is something that Nick and I were having a little bit of side conversations about, but one of the big things that we need to come and have some more conversations around for us that are doing the heavy lifting here to get Colorado launched, the opportunity for us to create some compensation for ourselves, some token vesting schedules using our security tokens is a very real opportunity, and that's one of the things that I want us to be thoughtful. And one of the resources that I'm personally going to be going through, and I can't remember if this is something that I've relayed to you, Nick, but it's Slicing Pie, and there's a handbook, and there's also a website at Slicing Pie. So that's one of the things that we're going to really be going through so that we can have a handbook that we can utilize. And we're also going to probably spin up some conversations on token engineering commons, because one of the goals that we have is to create a compensation model so that when we're looking to launch our next states, that the people that are wanting to do the heavy lifting to launch some states, like for example, New York, Minnesota, Illinois, those are three states that are very high on, and the reason that those states are high on the likelihood for us expanding into is because they have favorable community solar regulations, and that's what really allows us to become the energy company in this model that we're creating. But anyway, I'm going to go on mute here. We're already 7 minutes past, so thanks everybody for bearing with us. I knew that this was going to be a lot of agenda to get through in 30 minutes, but anyway.
Yeah, I think this slicing pie thing looks really good, and I think that's exactly it, is to build a community that, we're going to have people that we can trust and rely on. We have to show them, that we're serious about compensating them. And I think these kinds of things will really help with that. And building out the ecosystem, I mean, this ability with D-Work and these kinds of distributed systems really open up the door for new ways to do these kinds of things, which is really exciting. I think the challenges that you guys have faced, and that a lot of the communities are facing, is that there's not a lot of clarity on how to do these things and where they go. So I know some of your posts, Yonks, have really helped to create clarification around that for people, and step-by-step instructions on how to set things up. I think that's awesome. I'd love to see more of that. And those are the kinds of things that once I think we will be on the path of educating people on how this is going to work, and really making sure that's crystal clear so people understand what they're getting into, how it works. And this is how we can probably appeal to people who aren't necessarily in the Web3 space and still pull them in because they believe in what we're doing.
Well, Nick, thank you for that. And I'm excited to see how that you will continue to contribute here in 2024 and beyond. So thanks for being here today, and thanks for all that you've done, and thanks for all that you're yet to do yet. Any final thoughts from you, Tyler, or Amy, before we call our annual meeting? And one thing, this is really something that I want to host on March the 3rd, because this is me being a numbers geek, and it didn't line up in 2024. And some of those reasons are why that we didn't get launched on DAO Day. But that's one of the things that would ideally like this to happen in a more grandiose event on March the 3rd. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays in with ETH Denver, because that's right around ETH Denver time. So that's something that I would like to have more conversation for our 3rd annual meeting in 2025 of what that can look like. But anyway, any final thoughts from you or Amy, Tyler or Amy, before we bring this to a close?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you for all the hard work that you're doing and all of the craziness. This has been a lot. And I know Nick and Amy, you guys see some of the craziness, but he really is doing this like 24/7. So it's been pretty chaotic, but it's exciting, and it's really fun to see it come all together. So I'm really proud of you for all the work that you're putting into this, and all the discouragement that you didn't let people shove you off course, and it's just kept getting better. So I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we are moving the needle forward. It may look like it's very granular, but that's how we like it, because we want to have people on board that really resonates with what we're doing. And I'm looking forward to us growing for months and years to come, because we're here to stay and we're here to make a difference. and that's what I'm really proud of, being part of this project that we're doing. So keep doing what you're doing, Jason, Tyler. And I don't know if you've discussed the last part of the annual meeting, but and I don't know if you need a verbal approval, but that's a go. Thank you.
Well, these proposals that we just briefly discussed will be written up and then published on Snapshot for us to vote on using our freshly minted Board of Stewards NFT that's built on Base. And this is the first smart contract that I've created to support our pivot from Polygon to Base that we collectively voted on. And I just to amplify what Amy and Tyler said, that's really like Triple Win Foundation is a nonprofit foundation, is just kind of the icing on the vision that have been building for literally years. And as far as creating a sustainable ecosystem, and this is one of the things that's worth mentioning that I haven't, as a founder, Tyler and I are blessed financially where we don't need an exit so that we can have financial prosperity. So instead of like a lot of founders operate on an exit strategy philosophy, we're operating on an exit to community philosophy that we're wanting to build something that we can participate in for the rest of our lives. And, life has different seasons, different chapters, and the opportunity right now for us to contribute more, and then at different cycles in life, maybe contribute a little bit less, but have the organization have autonomy, regardless of how much that we're personally contributing, will have sustainability for perpetuity. So that's one of the things that really looking forward to creating through this ecosystem that we're building. And again, that's going to really be what 3Win protocol is, because like right now we're more of a social community DAO, but when we get this 3Win protocol in place, that's when we'll morph into a protocol DAO. Like I said, we'll be the cooperative protocol on the borrower side of the borrower and lender equation, because from what all indications that I see, most protocols are building on the lender side, and we're building something on the borrower side, which I think is very exciting. But anyway, we're already 15 minutes past. I'm not gonna try to squeeze our annual meeting in 30 minutes again. So apologies for being 15 minutes over, but thanks everybody. We'll be having more conversations through our normal working group and office hours format, and we'll be having some conversations on our Solve It. And looking forward, hopefully we'll get some determination on Community Energy Innovation Prize, but regardless, we're still building. And this is one of the things, I think Solve It will now be our 6th Hero X narrative that we've refined over the last 3 or so years that we've been building decentralized stuff. And anyway, have a good one, everybody.
Have a good one. Thanks, everybody.